Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final round of a special tribute event to David Stubbs, one of the most significant players to this game's development in Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I'm running this special event in his honor to fulfill a request to a friend who's been terminally ill with lung cancer. My name is Mike, and I grew up with this game. And between me and David, we really optimized this game a lot. We were kind of two of a few players at the time interested in taking this game to a more serious level in terms of performance. So we didn't really discuss the format too much for this event. So I really just tried to come up with something that I felt was most suitable. And I decided that having players run on David's favorite tracks was probably the best idea. He really liked the amateur circuits, and he's kind of known as a specialist there, especially his MGS Mongaza Speedway, that circuit, which we'll see today. So the idea was to have just a simple format where players compete in all 7 of these categorized amateur tracks. So there's different categories. There's 25 tracks in this game, and we've got 7 of them are listed as the amateur tracks. Although some of them are actually pretty hard. They're not actually. I wouldn't say amateur tracks. I wouldn't say Vengeance is an amateur track, or Bedo's actually. But there you go. But yeah, basically the players will gain points depending on how well they do against every other player for each track, and then the accumulation of points across tracks will determine the winner for the event. So for today's final match, we're going to see Renegawd, who I should mention was actually the first person who got me back into this game after many years. I used to play the original version, which only worked on Windows 98, so when my computer stopped working, I actually had a 6 or 7 year gap where I didn't play. I think the new Star Wars film somewhat added interest to this game as it became available on Steam. I got an email out of the blue from him one day. He was a stranger to me at the time. I almost deleted it thinking it was spam. He told me that this game's available on Steam, on the Steam platform, and told me about the Discord group where suddenly there was a huge influx of new players, which is how I got involved in this community. So I've got to give thanks to him, because I really never thought I'd be able to play this game again. Didn't expect to take off in the way that it has, and it's been great to see so many new players appreciated in the game, as I have over the so many years. Also featured in today's match is LightningPirate, who's rather experienced in tournaments. He's been involved in all of the past tours that have been done. And although this game came out in 1999, this is only really the 3rd year a serious competitive event has been held for it, as far as I know, in the 21 years I've been playing. So our commentators for this match will include King Mean Dit and Domeray, who have also participated in this event. Usually I'd be commentating, but since this is the last match, I'm going to be working mostly behind the scenes this time, where I'll be announcing the results after this match concludes. So for now, I'll let the takeover. Wish our final competitors good luck, and I'll see you all at the end of the match.
Thank you, Mike.
All right.
Alright, so I am the King Dip, with me as Tommy.
Yep. It's going to be a great match today between the two, as Mikey was describing. Long history of these two being involved in the community. And it seems like, as far as I'm aware, that they've also had a history between each other in past tournaments as well. And apparently also in the multiplayer scene, as we were talking to them beforehand. So hopefully we'll see a close match, maybe some wins back and forth between them to close out this memorial event to David Stubbs.
Yeah, for sure. So this is as we said, this is the final round of the special tournament. The way this works is each of the players are setting their fastest times and are going up against everyone else in the tournament. And so the 2 players on screen are going against each other, of course, but also simultaneously against everybody else who has already run.
Yeah, so basically you're just looking at each, like, how many wins a player would have against each other player based off their individual time, and each person only gets one attempt per track. So it's kind of like a match in a normal annual tournament. If you've watched that or experienced with it, you get, your one attempt per track as your time.
Uh-huh.
And then you're just compared to everybody else this time.
So we're just waiting on Renegawd to finish up his warm-up, and then we'll get started. So there are 7 tracks we're doing today. They are the first 7 tracks of the game, which, as Mikey pointed out, we're doing because David was really a specialist of those tracks. But there is quite a lot of variety just in those first few tracks, both in terms of theme, but also difficulty.
Yeah, for sure. As Mikey brought up in his intro, it doesn't really feel like all of them are amateur circuit tracks, especially people generally point to Vengeance being an especially hard track for the circuit.
Yeah.
And if you take a look down at Davy's times there, as Mikey pointed out, his MGS time is truly a splendid time. He was very good at that track, but the track we're starting on, Booted Training Course, he was also one of the best players on this track, even still today. Only about 2.5 tenths off of the current world record, I think.
Uh-huh.
So we will likely not see either of these players beat those first 2 times, but it'll be interesting to see what happens after that.
Yeah, for sure. You can also see on the screen David's times from, well, his personal bests when he was running this game. And if to anyone who's played this game, they'll immediately recognize that these times are extremely quick. That a 135.67, I've never gotten a 135 before. A 39.4, again, I've never gotten. Granted,
I think your best is what we both have gotten in the 39.8s. I have a 39.6, I think, and there's only 4 players I've ever gotten in the 39.4s. So it's pretty crazy stuff. Even the sub 240 on Betos is really solid time to have when you're comparing it to today's times. I would say probably his weakest time there was Spice Mine Run, the last track in the circuit. Just because it's an easier track, and I mean, it's easy to lose time on that track, of course, but just comparatively, probably what we would be most likely to see beaten by these 2 players.
We're still waiting on Renegawd.
I know that you pinged him, so I'm not really sure if he's. It seems like what Mikey said is he's trying to do a practice on every single track before he's ready, which is not the idea here.
Yeah, hopefully he'll see that soon.
It'd be quite unfortunate if he goes through every track and he was still just supposed to have practiced once per.
Well, I guess the good news is that it doesn't take that long to go through every track.
Yeah,
I would certainly rather not wait for it.
Point. Yeah, especially since he still has, what, like 8 minutes left, 9 minutes left that he'd be doing that. That's quite inconvenient.
Oh, he died. That's always exciting.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to die in this game.
Yeah, people love to point and say that this game is not quite as optimized sometimes. Specifically, there's one person on our Discord that likes to say that, but we're gonna not bring him up since he doesn't play this game very often anymore. But anyway, Anyway, the thing that makes this game so difficult to optimize is that you gotta play risky, but unlike other games, if you take just barely too big of a risk, you're losing 3 to 8 seconds from dying. Like,
Yeah.
you just can't make that up. It's over. So you gotta somehow balance taking the risky line with not dying. And sure, you can just reset, but there's only so many times that you can, make that same mistake before you start taking a wider line.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
It should be noted that the precision required on some of these tracks in order to get competitive times. So that 39.4 on Mangaza Speedway is I did a tool assistant run of that track and I barely got faster than that time.
Yeah, I believe you got, what, a 39.1 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Not even able to break the next second barrier in a task.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Okay,
Renegawd
it seems like Rene's
so
gonna be ready.
It's like we're good now. Sorry about that. Anyway, as I was saying about precision, in my tool assisted run, I'm cutting every corner like pixel perfect, so that one pixel closer to the wall and you die. And watching some of the world record runs on that track or former world records, and that 39.4 would certainly qualify, as I watched them after doing the tasks, and they're getting as close to the walls as I am. I'm like, what? How? This isn't humanly possible.
It's completely baffling to me that it's even possible for humans to get that close to the walls without dying. I don't understand. How many attempts do you have to do before you get one run that gets anywhere near what you want out of it? I don't know. I can't understand it. I'm still losing 2/10 somewhere. I don't know.
I'm losing 0.6 of a second.
Don't know where.
It's not my favorite track.
No, both these first two tracks, not the most fun tracks to try to grind in the game, that's for sure. But yeah, something that we should mention, since King Beandip was talking about the cornering and going super close to the walls here, is that the idea of handling this game is actually that you don't lose any speed when you corner. So you want to take as tight of a line, shortest distance as possible. That's why he was talking about getting so close to all the walls at all the times, because it's just so important to getting down your time. All right, I think both players are ready.
All right, so we see both players choosing Ben Quadraneros because he is far and away the fastest pod in this game.
Yeah, his average speed stats at fully upgraded is absolutely ridiculous. I think his average speed is faster than the max speed of the slowest pod at max upgrade.
Yeah,
right?
it is. Yep. He's just broken. The second fastest pod is, almost as fast, but also handles much worse.
Yep. For reference, Ben has a speed of like 89 degrees per second or something like that of turning, and the second fastest pod, turn rate, has like a 82 or something like that, I think it is. So he's turning better, has more usable traction across the majority of courses. Yeah, we have.
Nice. Let me sync these here.
We have Rene doing what is usually an N64 strat there, jumping over the hill. Didn't quite work out.
That's always
for him.
exciting. Okay, I missed the stream slightly. Let me fix that. The sync. Okay, so the countdown was given. This is the official start. This is really anticlimactic way to commentate the start of the first track.
Yeah, we're almost done with the
It
first
happened.
lap, and we've officially started already. 3/10 ups is Lightning Pirate with, I would say, slightly better heat.
Yeah. So you see their boost bar down there. How that works is, as you boost, you heat up. As you stop boosting, you cool down. And so, if one player is further on the track than the other, but at much higher heat, they may actually be behind because they don't have the boost advantage. But yeah, we see Lightning both on lower heat and ahead. So, ooh, okay, now he's really far ahead.
That was unfortunate. I saw Renegawd a 136.8 in practice, and I was hoping that we might be able to see that coming out here, but that's not going to be anywhere near what he can get now.
Nope. Yeah, that
Lightning
death
is on
cost 3 or
decent
4
heat.
seconds.
Yeah. Is that going to be 136? No. So close. 137.06.
Still very
Lightning
nice.
Pirate. That hurts to see. You hate to see a death on Bunta training, but sometimes it happens.
Yep, you gotta go risky.
Yep. Well, as you can see, David's time was about 1.4 seconds faster than Lightning Pirates, and he didn't really race badly. So that just shows you how easy it is to lose time in this game, and how strong of a time David had.
And this was the second most optimized track in the game. The next track that we're going to is the most optimized track in the game. But even then, getting within a second of the world record is impressive.
For sure. Also, Draco in the chat brings up a good point that neither player actually used Sebulba to clear the rocks or to get a better starting position, which is quite an interesting thing to look at. Usually we see players choose Sebulba because he has a specific rock that he can clear and make it a lot easier to get by without losing any speed, as well as setting you slightly further to the left to start. But it's not a big difference.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're setting up for Mangaza Speedway, which is the shortest track in the game by more than a factor of 2. Lap times are usually about 13-14 seconds.
Yep. Look at that first lap, under 15 seconds there for Lightning in his practice. And he didn't even do the best starting route because he started by taking inside line. And, oh, interesting, we see Rene choosing Bullseye for this track. Now, Bullseye, while he's a slightly slower pod, and when I say slightly, I mean significantly slower, but still a top tier, he has incredible turning. He's the most agile, relevant pod in the game by a large margin. Oh, he's switching to Ben. Well, maybe we won't see the Bullseye. Kind of hoping we won't see Bullseye at any point, and maybe we'll just see only Ben, but can never be too sure with these things. Especially with Vengeance looming, you never know if... Especially Rene, I think, has a higher chance of not picking Ben there.
Yeah. Ben Quadraneros on this track is just barely agile enough to take most of these turns on boost. And so if a player isn't really comfortable using him here, then they'll often pick another pod, such as Bullseye, even though it costs a couple of seconds, because they know they'll be able to do faster.
I am honestly curious about that, because when it comes to Rene right there, as you can see, he got a 43, and I'm kind of curious if his Bullseye pick might have been able to beat what he just did in practice there.
I don't know if Bullseye can do a 43.
I'm pretty sure he can do a high 42 if done really well, but that's still like little room for error, so perhaps not. Looks like both players are ready, so we should see the countdown given here shortly. And then we'll see the players go and see how they can do in another one off. That's the difficult part about this, really, though. That singular attempt is so hard to survive and get a good time on.
Um,
All right. Countdown is starting now.
Excellent. So once the stream catches up, we will be off. And we'll see if I can sync this track before the run is over.
Yeah, as you can see, this track is very short, and the first time we barely got it synced during the first lap. So we'll see in terms of winter training. And winter training is only about 10 seconds slower on the first lap or so than the whole 3 laps of MGS. Looks like Rene's starting, and I think he missed his boost start there. Interesting. You don't see that happen often. Can happen, though. I might have just missed it, but it looked like he did miss it to me. All right. Syncing
I got
here.
the sync.
Nice.
All right, so Lightning finishing with a 14.78. That is almost a second ahead of Renegawd after the first lap.
Yeah, and one thing to note here is that it really is important to stay on that higher heat the whole time, so that what we mentioned in the first track isn't quite as relevant here. It's a little bit, but not quite. And he pulled ahead for the second lap as well. Really good heat coming into the end here.
And
See if we
here's
can
the
close it
final
with the
turn
last
coming up for
turn.
Lightning.
And a 41.08, I think that. Oh, a crash finish with a 43.3 for Renegawd.
Very, very nice.
Both pretty good times, but that's the second time now that LightningPirate has missed being on one of the better second barriers by less than a tenth.
Yep. Renegawd got a 43, and I don't think Bullseye can do a 43, so it's probably good that he switched to Ben.
Let me look at what my personal best on the Switch is. Okay. On the Switch, I have a 43.49 with Bullseye, so he's just barely better than that. He did a smart decision there.
Nice. Yeah, so that was a short track.
Yep.
Next we have Beato's Wild Ride, and you saw Renegawd warming up on that track a few minutes ago when we were trying to start, and he was not getting Discord notifications. So Beato's Wild Ride is the first really technical track of the game. There are ice fields, narrow corridors, obstacles, big jumps. This cave that Lightning is doing here. Yeah, so it's always really exciting to see what runners can pull out on this track.
Yeah, I always like to think of this track as kind of the hidden devil of the amateur circuit. Like, everybody loves to think of Vengeance as the worst track or hardest track, and I would say it is in terms of like getting good at it. But Beato's Wild Ride, you expect it to be easy, and then you just die. And then you die again, and you don't understand what's happening, but it just spirals out of control before you know it.
Yep, grinding world records on this track is such a nightmare. Because you're like, well, the track is so simple. I know I need to do this turn and this tune and boost here, and that's it. And then you die 50 times before you complete the three laps, and you don't have content.
Yeah, it's very surprising. And really, the thing about it that makes it even harder is the fact that there's a little shortcut on the left, known as the tent, and it's just barely faster on this track to take the tent, but it's so much harder than taking the normal cave route. When it opens up. So your risk reward there is so horrible that most players can't even make it be faster.
Uh-huh. I mean, I only started practicing that route like 2 weeks ago.
I still don't use it. Like, I have yet to figure out how to manage my boost, like my heat. Oh, okay. My heat correctly with tent. Yeah, I can never get it to save time.
All right, so both players say they are ready, so we should
You
be
can-
getting the countdown shortly.
Mm-hmm. Was Rennie taking the Was he taking the ice cave or was he taking the long route? I didn't notice. I know in practice he went the long way a couple times.
I think they're both doing the normal route.
Okay, good. Because that's a big time loss to just go that long roundabout way.
Uh-huh.
Algolx, these are upgraded runs right here, but Draco was just referring to that in no upgrades, it is much faster to take the tent than versus with ILs because the cooling is much worse and it like you stay on the fast train is what it's called for much longer and that makes it much more beneficial. But yeah.
Yeah, for some reason, in that ice tunnel shortcut, the ice speeds you up.
I don't know who thought that was a good idea.
Nope. It's
You lose traction,
it's not even
you
known.
slide around. And then
Yeah,
you
it's not
speed
even
up.
known why these pod racers lose traction on ice, let alone speed up.
Oh,
Oh,
bad death.
Renegawd
And he
started with
misses
death.
the cave too. Oh, that's such
Oh,
an
that
easy
hurts
spot
so
to
much.
die. Oh, it really does. As you can see, Lightning does the slightly more proper way, but like it's so hard to tell what's the best way to get over that hill without dying.
Uh-huh.
It's so
Yeah,
easy to
so
bounce off.
already barely made it to like the third turn, and Lightning is like 7 seconds ahead.
Yeah, it's a big gap now. We'll see if he can keep that lead and maybe remain crashless, which has been a pretty rare feat for Beto's Wild Ride.
Uh-huh.
Been a lot of crashes here.
Yeah, that was one of the worst places in the game to crash.
It really is. Not only did he miss the shorter route, but he was at low heat, which means that he lost time from dying like that instantly. Because if he had died on max heat, I think you just barely saved some time compared to dying at low heat.
Uh-huh.
And it's so early on that he didn't even accelerate all the way, so he just had to restart his acceleration. It hurts there. You could see he couldn't even get a sub 1 lap 1, which is tries to take the tent to make up for it.
Taking the tent does make up for it. But that's what we mean there, that tent shortcut being so dangerous, because the tent itself is a really narrow gap that's really easy to die on, and then the exit of the shortcut, you have to take this really tight turn on ice, and it is really difficult to avoid dying on that turn.
For sure. And
So
even
both
if you
getting
like,
on and
know
off
how
the
to
shortcut is...
Yeah. Lightning seems to be on a pretty solid pace here.
Yeah, he's doing great. And he's taking safe strats, but the safe strats on this track only cost, a few tenths of a second over the entire run.
Yeah, I think you lose maybe like 3 to 4 tenths by skipping the tent per lap, and like in a tournament setting like this is much better to avoid it. Unless you're so confident that you just go for it, but I don't think even Ace goes for it in tournament.
Mikey does.
Oh yeah, Mikey does.
Ooh.
That's very true. A third death coming out from Rene.
That hurts.
Yeah.
Lightning finishing up here, final turn. He's gonna be getting a 342.
242.65 is a very solid time.
Wait, Renegawd is taking the scenic route. What is this?
I think his mentality for and he dies on an ice block too. I think he already accepted defeat on Beto's Wild Ride here, pretty early on. I mean, it's really hard to recover from that mentality of dying instantly. I can speak from personal experience on having lost many
Oh, I
um, good runs of RTA to that
uh,
hill.
I suppose I should be keeping score here. Sorry, guys. It says 0-0.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that. Shoot.
All right,
Sorry about
it
that,
is fixed
guys.
now.
All right, 3-0 for Lightning Pirate. I was really hoping it was gonna be closer than this. I'm surprised that it's already been such a strong pulling ahead for Lightning.
Hmm.
I know that Lightning's probably more experienced in both like the tournament and speedrunning settings, so I guess it makes sense, but it just feels like it should be closer between these two given how much they've been close in multiplayer in previous tournaments.
Yeah. All right, so let's probably do a quick recap for everybody who showed up in the last few minutes. Welcome. So this is the final round of the David Stubbs tribute tournament, who was a veteran speedrunner of this game and requested that we put on this tournament as he was fighting terminal lung cancer. So this is the final round, meaning that everybody else has already put in their submissions. This is a time trial tournament, and since David Stubbs was a specialist of the amateur circuit, we are doing the first 7 tracks of the game. And so we are on track 4, or this is warm up for track 4, and yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah, and in the bottom right, you'll see a list of David's times. And so far, I don't think any of them have been beaten. Yeah, none of them have been beaten by these two players so far. I do know that some of the future tracks for certain did have the times beaten. I'm not sure if Mikey beat Beto's time or not.
I think Mikey did like 3 or 4, beat like 3 or 4 times.
I know that for certain, Aqualar's Classic, Malister 100, Vengeance, and Spice Mine Run all were beaten by other players during the previous parts of this tournament. I can't say for certain if the Beatles Wild Ride one was or not. Can't remember.
Pretty sure it was.
I think it was.
Wait, did I beat Beto's Wild Ride? I don't remember.
I for certain did not. I had a we don't talk about my Beatles Wild Ride. Didn't go well. But yeah, you can see both players are in lap 3 here of their practice. And the 237.9 is about 1.2 seconds off of the current world record, which is pretty good, for sure. 240 for Rene.
That is a very respectable time.
For sure.
Did Lightning have a death?
I think he might have. I don't think he
Alright.
gets a 244. Also, why is he on R600 for this track?
I don't know. What's his frame rate?
It'd have to be pretty low for to be valid. It'd have to be like 24.
I started
28.
experimenting with doing 25 frames per second everywhere and varying my traction. It's interesting.
I imagine it is. I'm not sure why you would ever do that to yourself, but whatever.
Alright, countdown is being given. So we are just a few seconds away from starting this track.
Oh, since we're talking about traction, I don't think we brought this up before, but this game has some interesting quirks with how it recognizes your traction, both in terms of how it affects your handling and how it's related to the FPS that the game is run at too. So when you're at a lower traction, let's just start with the upgrade. You have a little bit of like what people like to think of it as like a greasiness to it, so you slip around a lot more. But your sliding, which is the drift of this game, is really effective. So you can corner some corners that are otherwise impossible to do without braking really easily, or much more easily.
Yeah.
And then the frames per second of the game that it's run at also impacts this traction. if you're at a lower FPS, it actually is a significantly lower traction than at a higher FPS. So those two together, on PC at least, combine to give you higher pod handles, and players will adjust that depending on the track. And I
So
think Aqualar's Classic is pretty moderate, but generally slightly lower.
yeah. So this is Aquilar's track classic. It is when people are new to speedrunning the game, we usually point them towards this track, simply because it's not brutal, it's not trying to kill you all the time, but it's also really good for teaching the fundamentals, such as sliding, which is very helpful in the figure eight. And
Oh,
and
a
boost
tenth
management.
difference between their
Wow.
first laps. That's pretty crazy. I think they're relatively similar heat too. Maybe it looks like Lightning is going for a different heat strategy here. Maybe a little bit lower heat too, but still really close.
Yeah. Basically, every player has their own version of the boost timing for this track. On most
Yeah.
tracks, there is a clearly optimal boost timing, but on this track, it's as long as you don't, as long as you use all of your boost, then it's probably fine.
Yeah, and the length of the boost is not that relevant to how good of a time you get. So really, it's like you can do whatever you want. But there, he really is on R600, isn't he? He cannot do that hairpin for the life of him. My word. All right, they're right next to each other still.
Renegawd took the lead slightly.
I think he did, yeah, because he handled that last figure eight really well. And yeah,
Yeah,
Ace
he
likes
is
to
on.
always say that all the time lost on this track is basically in the hairpin. So
Uh-huh.
how this goes here. Coming down to the last 20-30 seconds here.
This is close. I don't think Lightning is going to be able to
I
take
think
it back.
I feel like Rene's gonna pull this one out if he can just manage his heat here at the last moment. Oh, bad boost timing. He might not get it now. See how these turns go. You can boost earlier. And the answer, oh, Lightning
Holy
winning. What? Oh my gosh.
Renegawd through that at the last.
Oh no, so close. And he had that. If he had just boosted properly, he had that. Ah, dang it. That's unfortunate. Truly an incredibly small difference. And I think that is that less than a frame, 700ths, or is that barely more than a frame? I think it's barely more than a frame, isn't it?
All depends on your frame rate. Let me do a quick math here. Okay, that's one frame at 15 frames per second. So
Okay.
it's a couple of frames.
It's like 2 or 3, pretty much. 2 or 3 frames. That's
Yep.
a very small gap. All right. Well, with that, Lightning has actually secured his victory over Rene. But once again,
right,
this is a comparison between everybody. So he's not necessarily in the lead overall, which I don't think he is at all. But he's in the lead over Rene, and Rene cannot close that gap anymore because there's only 3 tracks remaining.
Yep.
And speaking of traction from the previous track, this next track is it's well known for its last hairpin, and for good reason, because this track is one of the only, if not the only track in the game that is 100% known to be optimal at minimum traction that's legal.
Yep. Yeah, so when we do this track, we do R20, which is the worst traction part in the game, and then 24 frames per second, which is the slowest frame rate that's legal.
I don't even think Lightning's doing R20, and
I don't
Rene
think-
skipped M100. What? I don't understand. What's happening.
Message him.
He just doesn't want to do it.
Yep. I don't blame him.
Yeah, no, neither do I. It looks like he might actually be doing Bullseye on Vengeance like I suspected he might, though. Maybe he'll... No, he's still not switching. Oh,
okay,
there he
that looked
goes.
like a quit. All right, so
Maybe
should
he'll
be
actually
getting back
switch
on track.
Okay, there we
pun
go.
intended. Yeah, Lightning is his traction isn't low enough. He can't make that turn.
I don't understand why he's not switching off of it though. Like, he's allowed to do that.
I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't like it.
I mean, can't blame him. It's painful to do 24/20 most of the time. Although it's significantly better with Ben than with bulls. We don't talk about min traction bulls. We're not gonna think about that. I wouldn't even go 24/20 with bulls on this track. Like, I just no, not worth. He's used to multiplayer. Good point, Nacho. He's just doing 3600 for all the tracks. I mean, he might be. I don't think he was on Bunta training, but maybe he just switches the frames per second and not the traction upgrade for some reason.
Okay, so Renegawd is going with Ben, it looks like.
Alright.
Which is... Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, this track, you can't make any other pod be even close to Ben's capabilities.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the biggest discrepancies because Bowles is really, really inconsistent at that hairpin. So even though he's the second fastest, even still, he's still second fastest. He's way worse than Ben on this track.
Okay, both players are ready, so we should be getting a countdown here momentarily. What's the world record on this track right now? 144. What the?
144.3, I think it is.
Yep, 144.3.
It's absolutely ridiculous. This track is so hard to find your lost time. It's not even that hard of a track overall. It's just hard to find your lost time on.
Uh-huh.
I like to think of it as similar to Ubuntu Training and Beatles Wild Ride in that sense, is that it's not the hardest track to live on, but it's a hard track to understand what you're doing wrong.
All right, so yeah, the world record is 144.3. David's time there, you can see, is 2 seconds slower than that. And his time is fast enough that only a few people have ever beaten it.
Eat it up to answer your question. It's up to you what FPS you want to use per track. And it's PC exclusive, the variable frame rate, but you can choose whatever you want to run at between 24 and 60 FPS, because those are the ranges of the consoles. So N64 running at 24 and Switch, Xbox, other newer generation consoles running at 60, as well as giving a more, I would say, inclusivity to how like what monitors are viable, because some monitors can't run above 60 FPS, so it'd be kind of unfair to those people. But yeah, Rene taking 2 crashes.
Oh, sorry guys, I forgot to sync.
Lightning taking a bad first turn, but not bad last hairpin, but not crashing. Yeah, Ace kind of answering the question there about the FPS. It's kind of just subjective there, and fine tune it how you want to.
Okay, so I missed the sync slightly.
Come on, you got to get on there, man. How dare you mess it up repeatedly?
Doing my best. All right, here at pin lap 2 for Lightning is about as clean as it could be, given his traction. He lost 100 speed on it.
Yeah, and you can go through there at the min traction without taking any hit there. Okay, not as bad as I thought it was going to be for Renegawd. I thought he was going to be range in there.
It's so easy to die on that turn. So
yeah, I died on
the
the
wall
first
and surviving is rare.
It really is. That hairpin. I remember when I was younger, I thought that hairpin was impossible to do. Like I just could not turn properly.
I know, right?
I was like, why did the devs put this in there? I got to break to 0 just to get around it. What?
150. That's a reasonable time.
Respectable-ish. I mean,
Yeah.
with his traction, it's pretty good.
Yeah. No, he is on R20.
What?
What's his frame rate?
Yeah,
Is his frame rate still high?
what's he running like 30, 40 frames a second? Otherwise, he's just not sliding it like properly at all. Which I'd be surprised if he doesn't know how to do that. A 213, an unfortunate number of deaths for Rene.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Maybe he should have gone with Bullseye.
Perhaps.
Yeah, so Aramath, to answer your question, in this game, generally speaking, lower traction is more optimal, because a key mechanic in this game is sliding, which is this game's drift mechanic. So you can slide into a turn and then release slide and snap in the direction your pod is facing. And that allows you to take turns that are tighter than you would normally be able to take at full speed. And so by reducing your traction, you can get better slides.
Yeah, I think when the devs originally put in the game saying when you get higher speed you want to upgrade your traction, it was because it was intended for 24 to 30 frames a second. And
yeah, on
the
24 frames per second.
The average player is not going to be able to handle Ben on any track, or any pod for that matter, that doesn't have naturally high base traction at 2420.
Yep.
So, since we have the variable FPS and we have obviously mastered the game significantly more than the devs ever knew was going to happen, lower traction is actually better on a lot of places. Alright, I'm surprised that Rene would choose Neva Key instead of Bullseye, but I do know he's quite fond of using Neva Key because of his higher ability to resist damage compared to Bullseye. Which I guess is fair with the asteroids, but he's just slower. It's just slower Bullseye.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Well, not dying is faster than dying, so
that's true.
It works for him.
If he's gonna die once a lap with Bullseye, then yeah, Neva Key not dying is gonna be faster. Can't contest that. Fun fact about Sebulba Algolx is that he goes from being the third fastest pod with no upgrades to the worst pod in the game when he's fully upgraded.
It's incredible.
It's truly amazing how they messed up his character design that bad.
And when you look at his base stats, it's very clear that the developers made a mistake when setting up how that works. Because they clearly intended for him. Yeah, they clearly intended for him to be the fastest, and accidentally made him the slowest.
I think the order was actually supposed to be something like Ben, Bulls, and Sebulba because of the no upgrades, and like canonically Bulls had a good pod, and I think Ben was supposed to have a decent pod, even though he rented it.
Yep, he's driving a rental.
A rental pod is the fastest in the game.
We should probably say something about this track before we go off on the rental.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so this is the first track in the game on Uvu Fort, which is an asteroid prison colony thing. It's really weird.
Don't
anyway,
question
so
how
it has
the
anti-gravity
breathing
tubes.
works.
Yep. So the anti-gravity tubes are difficult. This one has like one of the longest anti-gravity tubes in it, but also with the most asteroids and obstacles in it, with a laser beam shooting across part of it for some reason.
I'd say it's, with asteroids, the second hardest of the asteroid tubes. I usually rank executioners as the hardest personally because it's so easy to just get locked into not being able to turn, and then you just die. And then Gauntlet, I usually say is easier, but okay, we have both players started. Countdown was given, so this is their official one. Syncing is getting in line here. To answer your question, Matt, yes, Anakin is not good in this game.
He's okay as a starting pod.
Yeah, no upgrades, he's okay. It's pretty
Yeah.
average. No upgrades. Maybe on the slower end, but still pretty average.
The
But
nice
max upgrades doesn't work.
Yeah. The really nice thing about Anakin is that his stats are really beginner friendly.
Yeah, he has a lower boost thrust, which makes it easier for you to get used to boosting when you should. Pretty solid. Ooh, bad death.
Death on the laser. That was the laser, right?
I think. Did he hit a rock before the laser, or did he hit?
Oh,
the laser?
he might have. Oh, and then lightning hit the final rock in the tube. Yee.
It's here. That is better.
Wait, 108 lap 1. That's like
That's
5 or 6 seconds off pace.
Yeah, I mean he did die, but like that's still not what you want to see there. Typically, for reference, world record here is a 302 point. Like I think it's 87, and that requires usually a sub 102 first lap. So that's significantly slower than he wants to be going, even without going at world record pace. Yeah, Dud Bolt. He's pretty mid pack speed wise, but his turning is by far the worst in the game. It's really
all of the stats for these pods are like not what you expect.
Is Rene just spinning and hoping for the best?
Kind of looks like it. To be
Worked
fair,
for a while.
Yeah, when I started, when I was playing this game casually, sometimes I would just spin and not die.
Well, it looks like it's not working too well here.
Nope. So
Hopefully
much
he
for
takes the third lap more seriously, but yeah, that's not going to be a good time for him. Lightning is way out in front, not even remotely close to where Rene is anymore. 119. That hurts.
That's a good executioner time.
Yes, it is.
We're not an executioner though.
No. In fact, that time is barely fast enough if he did all 3 laps to be sub 4, which is really slow for this like level of gameplay. And on the whole, it's like he's not doing that much bad. It's just that he doesn't seem to be taking enough boosts, using the correct pod, or avoiding deaths enough.
Renegawd isn't so much of a speedrunner as he is. Well, he does a lot of multiplayer in this game, and he's one of the older members of the community.
I think that was a 314 with 1 death, if I caught that correctly.
I think so, yeah.
Not terrible, but you definitely know he should be going faster than that. Like, Lightning is capable of doing better than like a 310 pace.
Renegawd really likes to have fun.
Yeah, I like to think of him as more of a game enthusiast rather than anything else.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm concerned about this Hey Lightning I see from Rene in the chat.
Get the last track.
Yeah, basically, Rene's basically asking Lightning to throw here. Yeah, Lucius, David was a very excellent, specifically, mainly amateur circuit speedrunner of the game. He was quite influential in developing a lot of the earlier metas and bringing about the older times into the newer ones with improving Mainly Mongaza Speedway and Bunta Training Course. Those two were very well done, very well executed by David. And he did other tracks very well too, as you can see on the bottom here. But those two were really what he revolutionized. David was actually the first player to ever get a sub 40 Mongaza Speedway time. And he did that like about a decade ago, I believe it was, which is truly incredible given the other times that were around during then.
And that is likely the final second barrier on that track, since I did a tool-assisted speedrun of the track and didn't get close to a 38.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna find anything else that would be able to break it any lower. Honestly, I think the last 10th barrier a human will see is maybe 0.3, 39.3 maybe. But it's already crazy enough as is.
All right, so for the 252 of you that just showed up,
Welcome.
welcome. This is the final track of the final round of the David Stubbs Tribute Tournament, who was a veteran speedrunner of the game. And he was this last year he has been fighting terminal lung cancer. So he requested that we put on this tournament in his honor. And we are just wrapping that up today.
Yep, so for this tournament, every player's time on each track will be compared to every other player's time. So that's why you're only really getting a small number of quote unquote matches, is because we don't really need everybody to go against everybody directly. It's just going to be indirect comparison. And those results will be given after this match, after this race is over at some point. I know Mikey has to do some background work to finalize the results, but we should have an interview to fill the space in between. Hopefully, it's both Lightning and Rene. And then we'll get to the announcement of who won and by how much.
Yep.
Seems like both these players are not very happy with their current abilities, but hopefully they will close out this track pretty well. I know Rene might be going Gascano here, which is an interesting pick to say the least. Think both players are ready? Rene said, anyway, I'm ready earlier, so.
Gascano is kind of a meme pod in this game among the community, since he has the worst cooling in the game. Without upgrades, it takes him 58 seconds to cool down between boosts. It's just so bad.
It's truly incredible how bad his cooling is, really.
By comparison, Slide Paramita with the best cooling in the game, without upgrades, he cools down in like 8 seconds, I think.
I think you're right, and it's 5 seconds with upgrades. Balancing this game, Shiny Tentacruel? No. No, they did not.
Nope.
I think they tried. They really did try with no upgrades, and then they completely destroyed that when they decided to cap the top speed at 650.
I don't even think they tried it no upgrades.
You know, they might not have. They might have intentionally made some pods better.
I think they intentionally made some pods better. For the most part, the pods that are best are you unlock later in the game. But not all of them.
Yeah, you do unlock 3 top tier pods within the first 7 tracks. One of them you get to start with. Not to say that Al Darbido is good initially. Sorry, not Al Darbido. Elon Mac. He's not good initially, but he becomes really good. Then you also get Al Darbido on Beatles Wild Ride and Mars Guo on this track here. So you get 3 top tier pods very quickly.
But on the other hand, though, Ben Quadaneros, which is the fastest pod in the game, is usually unlocked in the very last track.
Yeah, if you're going through it with a casual playthrough, you usually do Inferno last. But you can actually do it before doing any of the other invitational circuits, or tracks, which I did not know as a kid.
Uh-huh.
Only discovered that via being here. Is Rene doing the pod cockpit view?
Oh boy.
Speaking from personal experience, this view is not fun.
Well, there
Okay,
are worse
fun and
tracks for it.
casual, but he's looking behind him now. Got to see who's following him in second place, despite being in
Right.
position 1 out of 1.
Anyway, Lightning taking a good line down this long descent. His boost heat looks just about right.
Yeah, usually.
So
you wanna
he's on
be-
pace for a really good lap 1.
An unsurprising death from Rene.
Avoiding obstacles is a little bit more difficult when the engines are taking up 3/4 of your screen.
Just a little bit more. All right. Let's see what Lightning gets here. Typically, you're looking for 114 to 116, so he's in that range. It's pretty good.
Very nice.
We'll see what Rene can get with a crashed, scuffed cockpit view Gascano here.
133.
I mean, could be worse. Like, honestly, could have been worse. He's still, like, on track to be sub 5.
I'm pretty sure that given the polygon counts in this game, a cockpit view would not be helpful.
Yeah, no. It is really not. You know, the worst part is that I still can't use... I would still rather use this camera than the one that doesn't show the engines at all.
Oh, really?
I cannot use that camera. Like, I've tried it, and oh my word, I can't tell what direction my pod's facing if I try to slide anywhere. Just terrible.
Oh yeah, Ace points out that Neva Key you can actually see like the back of his head when you're racing.
Yeah. I think we call it rat cam most of the time. Oh, rat view. Okay, whatever.
All right,
Same
I should maybe commentate the race that's going on here.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. Lightning is doing pretty solid. He's in lap 3. Somehow I missed lap 2 entirely.
Ooh,
Survives
okay.
there.
Excellent. That dozer is always in position to kill world record pace runs.
It truly is.
We recently discovered how to manipulate it. By recently, I mean like last year. But he did not do the manipulation in this attempt.
Yeah.
Anyway,
also,
so
Drigo brings up a good point here. The pace that Rene is on is actually achievable with both no upgrades Ben and no upgrades Bulls.
Alright, so LightningPirate finishing up the last few turns. There are a bunch of really sharp turns leading up to the finish, and you
He's
want
on
to
pretty
use
low
all
heat.
of your boost. Yeah, you want to use all of your boost when you cross a line, and his heat is way too low to do that.
Yeah, you have to go into those hairpins at max heat to have a chance. But 343, very respectable, especially given the heat like that. He actually beat David's SMR time, so very good.
By 0.4 seconds. Very nice.
That's a solid time across the board. Of course, the world record is significantly faster. In fact, it's 340.08 or something like that, which is truly mind-boggling in my eyes. I do not understand this track in the slightest compared to the world record pace.
Alright, I have to say that as a kid, I really loved doing racing games in bumper cam, so this is great.
It's interesting. It's a unique experience, that's for sure.
Uh-huh. And 431.
Okay, he actually did beat what you can get with no upgrades Bulls. So at least he had that.
That's good.
Yeah, no upgrades Bulls can get a 442.3 currently is a world record, I think, and you probably could squeeze out those last 3 seconds at 3/10 to make it 441. Probably. Don't ask me how though. All right. Well, If they want,
All right,
if
so-
players want to join us for interviews, they should be able to, and we'll let Mikey get to figuring out the rankings.
So we just finished the last race, but y'all should stick around for a few minutes since we'll have interviews, and then afterwards, Mikey Berger will be announcing the final results of the tournament.
I'm just letting the players know that they can join if they're open to.
Hello, Damari.
All right, Lightning, how's it going?
Hey, good.
Oh no, not Damari, Lightning.
How dare you?
Words.
I was
Hey, Renee.
Yes,
All
but
right.
the last one,
It was a fun watch.
I tried to make it interesting.
You certainly did.
You managed to beat No Upgrades Bulls, so that was good.
hey.
Okay, yeah,
By like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
dude. Wild thing those no upgrade times. I love it. Honestly, my what did I get on the Vengeance? Because my no upgrades Betos was still 420 on the record. So I don't think I beat that today.
No, you got sub
Okay.
4. I think it was
Oh,
like 340 something or 350
Okay, never
something.
mind.
Hold up, let me just scroll up here.
Yeah, it was like
343.558.
All right.
Okay.
Well, yeah, only beating no upgrades by like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
I crashed a lot. I mean, that's a tough map.
Yeah, it is.
And
And
bumper
Neva
cam
key,
does
of
not
course,
help.
not optimal. So
Bumper cam.
he did use bumper cam with Gascano for SMR.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta make it more interesting because I've already done Gasgano. I gotta start doing different views and stuff, you know.
Let's all just switch to Bulba. Or no, let's all switch to no upgrades Juan Sandage. Bam. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Um,
everybody will love to watch that.
The most boring runs possible.
I kind of want to do an ATNG plus run of that.
One Sandage is decidedly the least exciting pod in the game.
We could all do
I
the bumper cams with the ones on the no upgrades.
There you go. That'll make it.
Make it even better.
Doesn't Abyss Skip disprove that statement?
Okay, Abyss Skip is
But that's
optimal with one
that's a,
Sandage.
but that's a boring skip. So it's
I,
still
well,
boring.
okay, yeah. You got me there.
At least most of the other skips are interesting. But yeah.
That was like the first skip, I think, like the first ever skip in this game.
It's up there. There was that. There was Bumpy's Breakers. There was an old Inferno skip, and I think there was one other
There
one,
was-
maybe.
There was a guy by the name of a really old school racer, like way back, by the name of Murray Duck. That I think he discovered the Abyss skip with Mars Go, like 2000 something. It was such a long time ago.
I know. I've seen. I know. At one point, Miles had Miles Buckram. If you guys remember him from the.
Oh yeah, Miles is another OG racer. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, he's the guy who infamously did one of the first cheated 16-star runs of Super Mario 64. But,
He cheated in another game.
but he
funny.
did compete briefly in this game, and I know he at least did Abyss skips. I don't know if he found the original version or if he did a different version than Murray or whatever, but there was a skip that he used to
Yeah.
do, and
In
in fact, Mikey used to call it the Miles Freestyle.
They might be talking about the Uva Force skip. He might have, or the the very last one. What is it? Gauntlet. It was either
okay.
Miles or Murray that I can't remember which one, but one of those guys got it's probably one of the first ones to ever get the that skip. I think they used Mars Go the first time too. Like Mars Go was like the first for every skip, pretty much.
Most,
But,
if not, I think every skip but Bumpy's Breakers, because Well, at least all the older skips, because Bumpy's
Yeah,
used to be
yeah.
done with Bullseye. So.
Yeah, he's a lot easier too because he's smaller for that one.
And I think Wouter M. Jansen or Wouter M. Jansen or
Yeah, I
however
was
you
going to
pronounce that
mention him.
name.
I was
found
going to
it.
mention him actually. He's actually a famous what is it, GoldenEye speedrunner.
And I know he's done F-Zero as well.
Yeah, and he.
I was
competed
actually tempted
for
to
it
get in
for a long
contact with him
time.
and see if he wanted to just join our Discord, but it seems like he might be completely inactive now because he's
Yeah.
like stopped speedrunning.
He
after
was
20 years.
He's a legitimate speedrunner. Like he's long ass time. He's a lot of games. That guy is
He's a
That's cool.
legend, that's for sure.
yeah. I didn't realize.
So, Lightning, how'd you feel about all of that? I know Rene, obviously, you did pretty well for the first while, and then just like those last couple of maps,
Yeah.
obviously not so good. But
I just
how'd
don't
you
play this
feel?
game much. But
Yeah,
Yeah, I felt like a lot better about my performance than like the qualifier even, where I was like, oh, I'm actually doing surprisingly well. And then I was like, as soon as I was thinking, you know what, I could probably finish this deathless. That stupid vengeance rock gets me. And I was like, I had to die to something. It's always something.
there's always something to die on.
yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised by your qualification times, but I think this shows that you're still going to be a solid contender in the tournament.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, if not in that tournament, then in this tournament.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yep.
disappointed I didn't get Lightning in Aqualaris because I've been practicing Aqualaris. It's like one of my most practiced track because I was like actually practicing for the tournament at one point, and I practiced that a lot. And I got an engine fire today. I did Deathless, but I got engine fire, and that messed
You
me
had
up.
a really unfortunate missed boost timing on the last turn before the last hairpins. Like if you had held that boost without losing it, then it would have put you ahead.
Yeah, I think
So-
I canceled my boost got canceled through the helix at then, which sucks.
Yeah.
But
It was very close. It was a really good race on that one. I know, as King Bean brought up, that's usually one of the first tracks that we try to recommend for people, and that was also the first track I ever played on, so I always have like a moderately soft spot in my heart for that one, despite how boring it generally is.
I think it's more
It's
interesting
boring.
than
Until that hairpin or the figure eight at the
Yeah, nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden, every part of your time loss happens in 5 second section.
I think it's more interesting than like M100 or Doug Derby. I don't like those tracks. I don't like
Oh,
any.
really?
I don't like
Doug
any
Derby's
Malister
Doug
tracks.
Derby is really cool, and just
Like-
because it's so hard to do properly.
I don't know
but
why
get
they
you.
added Malister as a planet in the game. Like they
Okay,
have
the
a terrible
planet
fit-
itself is terrible. I agree with
They
you.
have a
But then again, I
terrible
also think that
cutscene
about
for it.
Mangaza.
Yeah.
Mangaza's red is
Among
like.
Us is kind of cool. Among Us is cool because they have the tractors and stuff. I always loved the tractors. You got to have a tractor level in any cool arcade racer, man. With
Couldn't we have
machines
just
going
left
around.
that to the Jawa crawler in Punta Classic and not had to die trying to take a fast line and
I
suck
don't
a
know.
challenge repeatedly and
If you
repeatedly?
play like arcade racing games a lot, though, there is a common theme with like construction work and big tractors and stuff. So I
Yeah,
think they
that's
did.
true. The dozers were a good addition in that sense. Can't disagree.
I mean, yeah, it is kind of a boring looking scenery, I guess. It's just
I just
all,
don't like
dusty.
all of the red, in the same sense that I don't like the gray and green of Malister 100 or
Yeah,
Malister.
they didn't even try for the intro. They didn't have any voiceover or anything. Like the manga's intro is interesting. It has like some spice mine boss that we never heard of. It's like sounds like he could be like a Legends comic character or something, you know. And then
Yeah.
and then when you go to the Malister cutscene, it's just here's this weird creature on a rock. Here you go.
Oh, Nugtosh?
And yeah, they don't even talk about it. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Or,
that's
uh,
Nugtosh.
What is it? Who's Nugtosh?
That guy.
The weird
spice guy.
monster.
Yeah, the
Oh,
skeleton guy.
Nugtosh. The skeleton guy. Okay, skeleton
Oh,
guy
the
Malister
skeleton- okay,
is
yeah.
Nugtosh.
Okay.
But how do you know this? Did you look it up on the wiki? Like that's how the only way.
Yeah, that's Nugtosh.
Okay. But who is Nugtosh though? I don't know.
No, okay. Even reading the wiki, I can't even tell you that. Like, there's no explanation for who
It's
that
just
guy is.
Nugtosh.
Actually, he's not even a he. He's genderless. Like, or it. It's a it.
Do we
One
know
of
what
you-
the species
One
is?
of you should show that on stream so we can see what you're talking about here.
Oh, if
My
I can
stream,
freeze.
my stream's off right now, but that sounds hilarious.
Just
Oh,
play
so that's
the
no
cutscene.
touch.
Curious lightning.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's gonna be super.
How do you-
and
how
it
do you even-
froze.
How do you even know this? Like that's what I'm trying to.
The random knowledge that Lightning has for this game and
I feel like-
lore is
I feel
funny.
like at this point we know more about this than the devs themselves. They probably didn't.
They
I
threw it
don't-
together.
Yeah, they're like, I'm
They
gonna make this
certainly
weird
didn't know.
creature.
They certainly didn't know about a lot of things. That's for sure. At least when it comes to the game, I don't know about the
Yeah.
content of creatures or things like that.
This
but-
game was very visually impressive for the time. Like I remember as a kid, I thought it was amazing.
Here you go. Here's its wiki. This is it.
Oh no, you skipped the cutscene.
No, it froze.
Oh, it
A lot
dang
a lot of times it'll freeze, but in a few seconds you'll see the wiki maybe.
Nope.
I just typed in NUGTOSH Nugtosh and DuckDuckGo browser, and I get an ad for 2021 top erectile remedies. Best male enhancement supplement.
Okay, never mind. Apparently he is a male. In another
All right,
source,
here we go.
I thought I saw genderless.
There we go. Nugtosh does have his own Wikipedia. It has like nothing on it. Yeah, Nugtosh. He's just like standing on the rock.
Obscure thing in this game.
Someone actually drew a picture of it, like a comic.
That's
Just for this.
great.
I think he just made up a name, honestly. Some troll made up a name and then put like. Actually,
Nobody
no.
would ever know.
It says sources
No.
besides first appearance Racer. It says Star Wars 15 Emissaries to Malastare Part 3. So I guess this is actually correct.
Hmm.
It says at the start of every pod race of Malastare, Nugtosh would traditionally climb to the top of the starting spire to wave the racers off. So
All right, so. All right, it looks like Mikey
That-
is possibly done with getting the results.
You guys ever heard of Star Wars Republic series of comics? Published in 2000 by Dark Horse Comics. Huh. I've never read the comics. actually.
No.
All right. Yep. Looks like it should just be just a minute, and then Mikey will join us, and at least I think he's supposed to join us to help give off the final standings.
Yeah, that's how I understood it.
Dude,
Yep, so,
Nugtosh has to be like. I might have to rename myself to Nugtosh, honestly.
Our math brings up a good point. Hearing the results instead of learning about Nugtosh really is a feel as bad man, and not like this type of moment.
All we know about him is homeworld Malastare, gender male, hair color none, eye color red. Affiliation pod racing. He's just like the big. Nugtosh is the biggest pod racing fan. Okay, like there's nobody that's more interested in pod racing than Nugtosh.
But what about all those fans that we have at the bottom there? The bottom of the tribute.
They don't.
screen.
They don't matter because Nugtosh literally climbs up to a rock to wave. Nobody else climbs up a rock like he does. So I mean, he wants it more. You know, he's just more hungry to watch the race. He crawls out of his cave like Gollum and just like pod race, pod race, pod race.
Welcome, Mikey.
Hello.
Sabobra
Hello.
always wins.
That was tense.
Yes,
Hey.
it was.
My fingers hurt from adding up stuff. Okay. I'm ready for you guys to start announcing the results. I think. Yeah.
Oh, are you not announcing it yourself?
No, well, I can do some of them, but I figured maybe, well, we can sort of do it between us or something. I don't know.
All right.
We were very prepared for this moment, as you can all tell.
Yes. Maximum professionalism right here.
But yeah. So in total, there were
wanted to-
13 players.
Oh, I didn't
Sorry,
know
14
this-
players. 14 players. My bad. There's 13 positions, though. Ooh, mystery.
No, there are 13. There's no 6.
Yeah, there's a tie.
Oh, no,
actually.
yeah, you're right,
Points.
13. Oh, my word. I miscounted. No. I've embarrassed myself. No.
I might be
Anyway,
able to
13
quick-
plays. Um,
You wanted to
Yeah,
go in reverse order, right?
Okay, so
I would assume that we would, start 13th.
Okay.
all right, so basically, a little bit about how this works. Mikey might correct me. So each of these 13 players ran these 7 tracks, and then they are ranked from fastest to slowest on each track, and are awarded points based on how many other people they beat on said tracks. And so we're number 13 was That's No Good. Got 3 points. He's one of the least one of the least experienced people in our community.
I mean, that's me too. I was just kidding.
In 12th with
Yeah.
14 points was the rookie Knock. Very impressive. Just, beating some people, getting the 14 points. And being a rookie, it's really hard to compete with the
Yeah.
people, especially when it's a smaller tournament like this one was.
Okay, so in 11th place, we've got Renegawd with 18 points.
Yep. Appreciate it, guys. I'm just starting my rookie season. It's good getting into the swing of things. I mean, sometimes when you gotta pull out you gotta pull out your main, and my main is clearly Gasgano
That's
on
right.
bumper view. So that was my
Yeah.
most comfortable pick, and next year I'll get my pit crew ready. We'll get the tires and everything to go, and we'll see
He's
what
going
the
to be
weather's
running
like.
F1 on pod racing next year.
Yeah, let's see what the track looks like, and I'll be back.
Sounds
He'll be
good.
back and better than ever.
Yeah, but be more experienced, So yeah, just happy to be part of it.
All right, next, Digital Unity beating Renegade by 1 point.
Yeah.
Nice.
I believe, did Digital go actually with the Switch for this one as well?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he did. I believe he was the only Switch runner for both this and the annual tournament that we're currently running. So he has an inherent disadvantage in some senses, but generally pretty competitive. So good placement on him.
Yep.
Just above him in 9th place with 34 points is Zalaskalar. Very competent runner. Pretty experienced in terms of previous tournaments, but definitely not like the most experienced outside of tournaments. But yeah, good place.
I remember he used Beto on Beto's Wild Ride.
Oh, yeah. Definitely
did.
lost some points there.
Okay, and then in 8th place we have Paige with 47 points.
Yeah.
And Paige is very much also a specialist of the amateur circuit.
Yeah, especially when it comes to Bunta Training Course and Malistaire 100, I would say on the whole.
Yeah.
Generally more experienced than most players there.
Her Bunta training course time was great, actually. I thought 35 is very difficult.
Yeah, I believe she has a 135.7 something, and then also has a 29.7 something fast lap. Very capable of getting world record in the fast lap.
Yeah. And then in 7th, we've got one of our runners from today, LightningPirate, with 51 points.
Woo!
Nice.
Nice job, Lightning.
Middle of the
Better
pack.
placement than I would say that was a better placement than your qualifier, but you were only one above it. So you're
I'd say
behind
this-
basically the same people for the whole point.
Yeah, no, this is where I should be. This is
Yeah.
definitely my home. Is right between Metallica and Paige, as it always is. Actually, I remember Nacho being around my level, but he's really leveled up.
He
in the
has.
past.
Yeah.
Nacho's been doing good.
Metallica's gotten a lot better too. I mean, I remember when he was pretty new to the game.
He's always beat me. I'm not surprised.
Well, in multiplayer, I remember when he joined multiplayer and he was pretty new. remember
Oh, nice.
that. And that was like way before he even did his first speedrun, But no, he's gotten into speedrunning side of things really well and improved a lot. So that's really cool to see.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Metallica, he's also a specialist, but in a different sense. He's done a lot of skip specializing, mainly Inferno skip. He still has the. Does he still have the 3-lap world record there?
I don't know.
Can't quite recall, but he's
he's
very
definitely-
Oh,
capable.
Metallica, you're here. Do you still have the world record in there?
He's definitely one of the most regular players I can think of. He's always playing the game.
He does.
Okay, Ace is saying yes that Metallica still has the Inferno record.
All
But
right.
yeah.
All right. So,
Anyway.
lest we get off track here, Lightning was in 7th at 51 points. Then we have the 5th place tie between Nacho and Metallica at 52.
Yeah,
Wow.
I would say like it's both surprising and expected those two would be right where they are, and the fact that they were identical in points. Like they're very
Uh-huh.
similar skill level overall.
Yep, and it's good to see in the tournament qualifying, Paige beat out Nacho in qualifying by less than half a second, and here Nacho beat Paige by 5 points. So
They can never pull apart from each other.
that's right.
Well,
Oh,
in,
and then next up is you, Dom.
Yeah. Okay, 55. I'll take it. 4th place, not bad. And then above me is my co-commentator here, King Bean Dip, in 3rd place with 58 points.
Hopefully the main tournament goes like this as well.
No. No. I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I hope it doesn't go like this.
oh well, in would someone like to do the final 2 results or?
Yeah, go for it.
In 2nd place, with 66 points, we have Ace, our famous speedrunner, who actually brings in a lot of viewers from just the outer rim territories.
He really does.
But he's got basically every record minus a couple, or that's his goal is to have every record in the game, and he more or less achieves that every other year, would you say, or a couple months?
He gets it quite often, but now he just doesn't care about some of them. He seems to particularly care whenever I take one of his records, though, and he just targets my times.
That's top priority.
But yeah, he's the current fastest pod racer in the galaxy.
Yep, current champion, easily. Both in Isles and in the annual tournament from last year. But, beating Ace in 1st place with 77 points was the veteran and our 3rd commentator and the host of this event, Mikey Burger. So congratulations, Mikey, for taking this event. I'm sure you must have practiced quite a bit to get into shape for it.
Yeah, thanks very much. I did indeed. And I was just looking actually at looking at David's times. I noticed actually, like you said, the first 3 tracks were no one's managed to beat them in this event. So that's the Bunter Training Course, Mongaza Speedway, and Bedos. So it really goes to show just how good those times really are. So
Yeah, just a fun fact, by the way. Mikey Burger is in fact my Formula One racing partner. We're Team Farwin and Glot. It's the company that produces the Neva Keys pod racer. You can look it up. And so between the two of us, we got 95 points. So if you divide it by 2, you should write me up to 47.5. Put me in 8th place, just above Paige,
Wait a second, hold on.
Hold up.
It's
Wait a
just team
minute.
points, We're drafting off each other in there, and it was a tough heat, tough heat. We had to draft and get some good, I mean, he was way ahead, so I only drafted off of him for the first few laps, but hey, he carried me, so yeah, I got 8th place, just letting you guys know. And yeah, Team Farwood and Glad, the big round of applause, guys, especially Mikey Burger. Thank you.
All right. So, if it's all right, I'll just say a few words now. That's okay.
Go for it.
Yeah. So, yeah, as most of you know, I organised this event on David's behalf, and one of the last things he said to me is that he wanted me to win this event. So, as you said, I worked very hard to ensure I could basically do my best racing, and I'm quite proud to think that I've been able to do this event for him and fulfill his wishes, basically. But I feel this event's been successful. I hope David would have been happy with what I've done. It's always been very important to me that events are completely fair. So I spent quite a lot of time considering how I was going to run the event, and just in general, as I wanted to do a good job for my friend. So I hope this event has somewhat justified my not participating in the main event, as well as I didn't actually intend on doing any competing at all this year. It can be quite a big commitment, but I'll certainly consider next year's event, as I'm sure there'll be more continued interest in this game. So really, I'm giving thanks to David for motivating me to play and perform my best, because I think I wouldn't have done so without his him motivating me. And he's really a very inspiring person, as anyone who knew him well would probably agree with me. He always saw the best in people. I know he had a lot of respect for other players and what they've accomplished in this game, and it's been nice to be able to do this one last thing for him, really. So I should also mention that I'll be providing a full list of match comparisons after the session for the event, which should be interesting for players to see basically how they would have done, how they would have fared had they have competed against any other player, essentially. So I'm rather hoping that some of the ideas I've used this event may be helpful in organising future events where we can all improve on what we've done so far with them, providing better tournaments for the participants and the fans. If anyone has any feedback, of course, just on the format or anything else, just very welcome to mention to me after the conclusion of this match, as I'd be very interested to hear your comments, and I'll get back to you on that. But also for more information regarding how the results was calculated and stuff like that, basically. Just going to quickly attach a couple of links here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate what you did for Davey and everything. It's very, on a more serious note, it's very great what you did for him. And I'm glad that you felt like you could fulfill his wishes and everything. And that's great. It's a great story and everything. But yeah, for feedback, I actually really like these one-day tournaments. I don't think we've had a one-day tournament since I probably organized one a long time ago. I organized a team tournament for Christmas time. I think Lightning probably remembers it. It was a couple of years ago probably. But I really like the one-day tournament better because the tournament you guys do every year is really cool, but for me, unfortunately, it's just too long of a commitment for a game I really don't play much anymore. So in terms of participating, if we ever did more one-day tournaments, I would definitely be interested in at least showing up, and I think it would get a lot more newer players that probably also don't want to commit to several months of a tournament to just show up and have fun, and I think if we had more casual tournaments, that'd be great, because it would get newer people into the competitive scene, because what we have right now is just a 1-year tournament that's very, very really competitive. It's pretty much the most competitive you can get. And I think it really caters only to veterans, to be honest. To be perfectly honest, because most people aren't going to say, hey, I'm going to commit to a 3-month tournament or whatever. Could be longer than that. Who knows? Just out of the blue. And some of them might some new players might Banana Boat Kid. I noticed is a newer player, and he's really good, really skilled, highly skilled. So yeah, sometimes you get people that just show up. But I mean, I think it'd be cool to if we can do a 3-month tournament, we can do a 1-day tournament every now and then.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my view of it.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think that's a really
do
great.
more localized ones, or even just even if we just wanted to say, okay, this person's hosting a mini tournament, even a multiplayer tournament, any of that type of stuff.
It could be anything. It doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be serious or anything. But we could. Still
I think what
stream
we
it.
should do is we should consider doing actual RTA tournaments sometime just for fun. I think that'd be a fun
A speedrun
way
kind of thing.
competing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this a
think
tournament
they
meeting?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, it is.
we could do an AMC tournament RTA. No upgrades. AMC no upgrades RTA.
But yeah, anyways, thank you, Mikey, again for putting this tournament on. I was honored to compete for Davey, even though I didn't get much of a chance to talk to him. Given my time of joining, I still feel very happy that I could do something in his memory, and especially with how much he's done for us in the past. I'm very happy that this was done.
That's great. Thanks for that. And I'll just say quickly, I've just attached there his links, just so that anyone who is following what's happened, they can have a look at his channel and just have a look at some of his races, particularly his Mongaza Speedway run. I've recorded that specific link because it's really worth watching. So got those links there. But yeah, there is another match today for the annual tournament. It's at 7 p.m. on the same channel, and it will be for the round robins. It will be featuring King Bean Dip, who's commentating today's match, and Bellius, who competed last year as well. So, and it will be on this channel as well. So, and just again, as a final thing, I would like to just give some special thanks to everyone who's been involved. So, I would like to start with thanks for Speed Gaming generally for hosting, enabling the streaming the event. They always do a lot of work behind the scenes supporting these events. So, especially I'd like to sort of give shout outs for Sigma 6, Maywalk Herd, Mind of Me. And then on for the competitors, the tournament organisers group from the Star Wars Racer Discord, and the commentators I'd like to thank include Nacho Brado, Ace, Paige, Don Murray, who is commentator today, Nock, LightningPirate, who's participated today, played today, and also for doing a great job with the layout as well for this. Metallica, King Bean Dip, who's today's commentator, Renegawd, Digital Unity, Zalaskalar, That's No Good as a participant and also for doing commentary, and then finally Game Draco, who I've known probably the longest out of everybody here. He's helped me with the majority of the commentary for the event, so a big thanks to him. And I think the final thing I would like to say is just would like to wish those competing in the annual event good luck.
Yep, thank you. I think it's rather interesting that the very first round of the main annual tournament is starting on the same day as the final round of this tournament. Yeah, so if you want to see some more pod racing action today, then come back in a few hours, and there will be plenty of pod racing for the next few months as that tournament gets underway. But yeah, it was very special and very, very fun to do this tournament for David.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Thanks to Mikey for hosting this.
Thank you. And as Game Draco just quickly reminded me there, it's this was initially going to be on Speed Gaming 2, so I'd forgotten the channels change. Yeah, so the annual event will be on Speed Gaming 2 and not this channel. That's a good point.
It's like ESPN Plus. You gotta get a membership and everything, Nah, it's free. They should charge like $1.99 or something, or 99 cents,
Oh yeah, if you want to sub to Speed Gaming, that's always an option.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that is true too. No, it'll actually cost you 50 cents. That's a tip. I know. Yeah. What if you could tip Speed Gaming though? That'd be pretty cool.
You can donate.
I do use a Brave browser that it's interesting because it has basic attention token as a currency, and if you watch ads, well,
all right, we're on air. we're wrapping up a tournament, man.
Hey, I want to make it interesting.
We can take this off there.
Hey, they want to hear about basic attention token, man. Go get the Brave browser. You get earn yourself some money. Google doesn't
Yeah.
pay you out in crypto. All right, I'm joking. I don't work for Brave or anything. I'm not affiliated with them. in any way.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. I think we can wrap it up here.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope we'll see you guys tonight for the first match of the annual tournament.
Thanks, everyone. See you
Great.
later.
Yeah, GG. Bye.
Bye.